In this video, we will discover together WebSocket Servers Drupal contrib module. So, as you see on the description here, the WebSocket Servers Drupal module lets you run real-time WebSocket servers directly in Drupal using PHP. And here, when we talk about PHP WebSocket, we talk about the famous PHP library Ratchet that is designed to serving WebSocket server. So the module ships so many features like defining WebSocket servers as configuration. So it's exportable and deployable across multiple environments, and run WebSocket instances with fine-grained control. So for each server configuration, we could instantiate one or multiple real WebSocket server. And for each instance, we have parameters based on a new plugin system type called WebSocket Server Handlers that other modules could implement. In general, the WebSocket Server Handler plugin allows other modules to define the logic of the WebSocket server itself. And much more here, much more parameters. We will see all this soon. And also the module has some bundled submodules, 3 in general. So the WebSocket server examples, it's just for reference, and we will use this module in this demo. Also WebSocket server log and WebSocket servers. Yeah. So let's dive in this. And here, so here I have a fresh Drupal 11 project installed locally. So here what I want to start with is installing the WebSocket servers contrib module. So just copy this command browser. Okay, so now let's enable the module. And WebSocket. Yeah. So that's it. Now the module is enabled. I will check here. So I will refresh. In configuration, web services, here we have a new menu item, WebSocket servers. So here we have the listing of all WebSocket servers configuration, and in second tabs we have listing on instances. It's a content entity, so it's not exportable. And here we have general settings for the module. So here, before starting, in the settings page here, there is some instruction. So the enabled instances are served by a single supervised manager process, and in general it's a dash command. So here a dash command that we need to run on the CLI on the server, and this dash command will check each 10 seconds here. This is parameter, so this parameter control how many times the WebSocket manager will check the instances, and if an instance is disabled, it will stop the run WebSocket server, the related run WebSocket server in the background, and the opposite, if an instance was enabled, so it will enable the related WebSocket server. in the background. So we need to run this command, and for sure for production purpose here, either use supervisor or systemd. So here is instruction how to add the command, so it will auto restart whenever the command is stopped. And here we have a wildcard bind address. We will see this later. So here we need to start from here, from creating a WebSocket server configuration. And let's add a new WebSocket server. So here let's make demo as the machine name, and we have a select here to select the handler. So now I have no handler in this select, and these select options are plugins. So other modules could implement WebSocket handler new plugin system, WebSocket server handler, and it will be figured here. So now for now I will just enable the WebSocket server examples. I will enable also this WebSocket server log. Okay, so let's refresh this page and again demo, and now here I have ready to use a handler. It's defined on the WebSocket servers example submodule. Okay, and here on the here in the source code, so I have in contrib directory I have my module WebSocket server, and I have in submodules list I have WebSocket servers example. So here, as you see in source plugin WebSocket servers, I have this class example WebSocket server. So this is my plugin implementation. So the class it should extend from WebSocket server handler base, and via attributes we should define the ID of the plugin, label, and description. Okay, so for description is optional. For the label and the ID, it's required because these two attributes are used in this selective. And there is a mandatory method that plugin should implement. It's on message, on receiving message from WebSocket client. What should I do as a server? So here, for example, for this plugin, it does nothing else than getting the current user username, okay, and then send a message back to the client with this message running as username, then hello from the WebSocket server, I just received this message from you, and then we put back the message that we received from the client. Okay, so that's it. Before starting, I would mention an important parameter for DDIV. So I use DDIV for this project, and here in config the YAML file, I have exposed two ports, so 6060 and 5050 for WebSockets. And this is important because WebSockets, when creating an instance of WebSocket servers, we have to choose an alternate port. So here locally, I could config this in config YAML of DD. So I have exposed two ports that for production, for example, you should contact your hoster to open the port or the ports you choose for your WebSocket instances. Okay, so now I will come back here, choose this handler and save. Okay, so there I have a new WebSocket servers configuration created called demo. Okay, so now next step is in instances. I will try to instantiate this server by creating a new instance. And here I should choose the servers, so it's demo, okay? And the port, the TCP port that will be used by this WebSocket server. So let's choose, for example, 5050, one of the two ports that I have exposed on my DDIV config. I will keep the path slash, and then I will enable this WebSocket server. Basic auth, this I will let empty for now, and run as also I will let this parameter empty for now, and I will save. So now I have a new instance created of demo WebSocket server configuration, or from demo WebSocket server configuration. And as you see here, I have those columns that describe my instance. So here the state it's not reachable. We will see why it's not reachable yet. And here the server from which I created this instance. And here a description. And if you remember, description is become from the handler plugin definition attribute that we have already seen here, as you see. And then the WebSocket URL, the WebSocket label, the div sites, and then the port and the port, of course. Okay. So now, why it's not reachable? Simply because I didn't start the WebSocket manager yet. Okay. So on my local machine, no need to have a supervisor or system empty. It's not mandatory, but for production you should probably have one of these two, because when, for example, this command has stopped somehow, it should restart automatically. Okay, and for now I will run this WebSocket manager manually here. I will check this stack, run it with pd launch manage. Okay, so I will back here to instance, and as you see here, starting WebSocket manager, and the status now is changed to running. Okay, now we have a running WebSocket ready to use. So I will copy this WebSocket URL, and I will test it with any WebSocket client. Okay, so for example, I have WebSocket installed here on my macOS, and then now I'm connected to the WebSocket server. We could test it by sending a message, for example, hello from terminal. And as you see here, running as anonymous hello from the WebSocket server. I just received this message from you, hello from terminal. Okay. Also, I could use any other WebSocket server. For example, let's use, for example, Postman, and here new WebSocket, and here put the URL. I should copy the WebSocket URL. Okay, and then connect. As you can see, it's connected, and hello Postman, and I get the response running as anonymous. Hello from the WebSocket server. I just received it from you. Hello from Postman. So now I have a running and functional WebSocket, and the amazing thing is that we could control this WebSocket server only from back office. Now, okay. So let's, for example, edit this one, and I will add, for example, a run as I want my WebSocket server run as an admin, for example. So I will select any user I want, so admin, for example, and then save. Once I save, the connection should be the client should be disconnected automatically, and when connected again and sending a message, I should see here running as administrator or any other username that is selected here. Okay, so save. Okay, admin is highly, so here we have added a warning like pay attention here. Admin is a highly privileged account, so the WebSocket server or any client connected to that WebSocket server could execute operations that admin could execute on this website. Okay, so here I will come back here. As you see, on Postman, the client is disconnected. I will connect it again. Okay, now it's connected. Hello from Postman again, and send. And as you see now, the WebSocket server is running as admin, so it has all permissions. It could execute operations, creating a content type, all permission scope that an admin user has. So the WebSocket could do these operations now. Okay, and yeah, let's test the other parameter. It's basic out. So let's, for example, add a username and a password that the WebSocket server will check on the handshake level with the WebSocket clients. So now let's choose, for example, a user Drupal and password. I will choose okay, simple password, and save. Same thing here. The WebSocket server should be disconnected. This is the case. It's disconnected, and let's connect again and see what will happen. And now, as you see, I got here an error. So it's unauthorized with the code here 401, and if you check here you get status code 401 unauthorized. And now to connect to this WebSocket server we should use an authorization header, authorization, and here we need to get the base 64 of the username and password combination. So here I will give echo, and so my username is Drupal and my password was 1234, and then base 64. Okay, so I get this encryption here, and I will use it as my authorization token of the basic. and click connect again. And as you see here, I am now connected, okay? And I could send messages. So here I could communicate with the WebSocket server again. So, so that's it for now. So you could control. I could totally disable an instance, and that means the WebSocket server will be stopped in the background. So when I save, I should be here disconnected. As you see, it's disconnected, and we're trying to connect again, and I get now another server error 502 bad gateway, simply because this WebSocket server does not exist anymore. Okay, so now let's do and yeah, I forget about the logs. So every message is logged here, and you could filter by instance or by message type. So here there's two types of messages. It's client message and server message. So you could filter, for example, I want only client message. So here I get only one message, okay, from clients for, and I could filter by instance to get only for this instance, for example. One other thing here is so WebSocket server, tac. Yeah, now what we can test now, what I want to test with you is the AI. So here I will approach WebSocket. So WebSocket servers AI submodel. So what does this model do? It simply adds a bridge to an existing or configured existing AI assistant on your website. So the WebSocket will play the role of bridge between the WebSocket client and the AI assistant configured in your machine. And of course, this means that this model will ship or will implement the WebSocket servers handler plugin. So it defines a new AI assistant handler. Okay, so let's install this model. Okay, and let's back here and refresh. Of course, I should create a new WebSocket server configuration. Let's call it EI assistant. Oh, let's call it front-end manager. I will not now make content type manager. I will let you know why. The name, and here I will choose the EI assistant handler. Save. Okay, and now here we need to create an instance. So here I will choose content type manager server, and let's choose the other tool here, 60. So enabled basic auth. I will keep it disabled. No, I will choose now basic auth for now. And here run as, I will keep anonymous for now. And for AI assistance, I will choose content structure. What is content structure? Here is an AI assistant that I have already configured on AI assistant API here. Figure, so I have already added a content structure. And yeah, by the way, I have AI core model enabled on this project, and I have OpenAI as AI provider configured already. So I have already prepared all this, and yeah, here for the content structure AI assistant. So it does nothing. I have only enabled here content type agents and field agents and taxonomy agents. And of course, I've chosen the AI provider OpenAI. I have only one for now on this machine. So here I have choose GPT 4.0 mini as model. Okay, so that's it. And here in the WebSocket instance, so I need to choose which AI assistant this WebSocket server instance will connect to, okay, or will forward client messages to, okay. So let's save now, okay, and it's not reachable. Yes, but we should waiting for the console. If you remember here, should waiting for 10 seconds so the WebSocket manager so as you see here, our WebSocket instance is running. So let's copy the WebSocket URL and go to Postman again. Now connect to this one. I will remove this, okay, and connect. So it's connected, okay, and now let's do some changes. So here let's see what we have as content type. So here content type article, okay, and basic page. So let's just ask from the client side, let's just ask how many content type do I have on this website, and let's be okay. Okay, how many content type do we have on this website? Okay, so and now here's the message, and here we got the response from the AI assistant. And as you see here, the AI assistant is replying, sorry, the AI assistant could not process your message. So why? Because here, if you remember the run as here, so if no user has been specified here, that means that this WebSocket will run as an anonymous user. And of course, anonymous user has not permissions to interact with an AI assistant and with our AI assistants. So let's run this WebSocket server instance as an admin, okay? And save, okay. Now if I refresh, the WebSocket client should be disconnected. This is the case, okay? Now let's connect again. Okay, now it's connected, and I will send the same message as before. So send, and of course we should wait for the AI assistant. So here we got a response, and there are two existing content types on this website. So here there is article, machine name article for time sensitive content, and basic page machine name, okay? And yeah, so now I could ask questions from WebSocket client to an AI assistant enabled or configured on my website. And not only asking for question, I could even execute operation. Like for example here, let's check for example, I don't know, I don't know. For example, for article here, we have already this field. Let's add a new field, for example. Let's add a phone field, for example. Okay, so I will ask for this from Postman WebSocket client. Okay, add a new phone field to article. Okay, then and uh, of course, if the user that we choose in run as has not permissions to add new fields, for example, on a content type, we will get a message you are not permitted to add a new field. But now we are running this WebSocket servers as admin, so admin has uh, access, has full permissions granted, and here, as you see, we get a response, total content type, phone field addition, to add new field. Okay, confirm. I will check if it already done. Okay, it's not working. And here to add a new phone field to article content type, not article, please confirm if you want to proceed and let me know. Okay, so it's a system prompt problem. So here we have to add, for example, on the assistants here, on the AI assistant, we could add, for example, always don't ask for confirmation, for example. So here, so as you see here, we could have, for example, here, don't ask for confirmation. Okay, save. And here on the message, I will put go ahead and add a new phone. Okay, so send. Now let's go here. Go ahead and add a new phone field to article content type. So let's see what we will get now. Very good. And you can manage this field further if you need. Okay, so let's see if it's already created. And as you see here, I have phone field added from WebSocket client. Okay, so that's it. And yeah, before finishing here, I would like to mention some important points here. So in the source code, you will find the README file here. So all detailed in the README file, and there is a security point here. For example, for now in this demo, we are using WebSocket WS and secure WebSocket, but in production you should use secure WebSocket WSS, and it's easy to configure, by the way. So you could put a TLS terminating reverse proxy on your web server configuration in Nginx, Apache, or any other one that serves your site over HTTPS. Okay, and with this approach, we will get browser will connect to WebSocket through a proxy, a reverse proxy. Okay, and the WebSocket server, the proxy will be forwarding messages to the WebSocket server locally. Okay, and here you could use localhost IP address, and don't forget to change here in the settings for production to change bind address to be the localhost address, or whatever address whatever IP address you are used here, okay, to connect in private network with WebSocket server. Okay, so in general here, for example, in Nginx, how to add a reverse proxy. So the IP used here, you should put it on the bind address on the WebSocket server settings. So yeah, that's it, and thank you for watching, and don't hesitate if you have any question or any feature request or any bug to fix. Don't hesitate to open an issue on the module issue queue on Drupal org platform. Okay, so yeah, thank you and goodbye.